What's up, everybody? What you see here is my latest M1 Garand rifle. The serial number dates it to December 1942, and I built it 100% to its factory configuration from a stripped receiver. All of the parts I used are original GI parts and are correct for the serial number. Essentially, I bought the stripped receiver. That was the first part I bought, so since it was stripped, there was no sights, no clip latch, no nothing. It was just your receiver. And from there, I started purchasing all of the correct parts that I would need for the serial number. That's, the stock, barrel, trigger group, all of the follower components, all of that I bought. Bought pretty much everything separately. I barreled the receiver, made sure it was indexed correctly. I had to buy some special tooling for that. And then, I checked head spacing also. And from there, as I got the parts, I disassembled everything further. So I disassembled the bolt, the trigger group, I disassembled. The stock group, I disassembled completely. Took the sights out, all that business. And then from there, I started cleaning parts off, stuff that still had old grease and cosmoline on them. I cleaned all of that off. And then from there, I started reassembling and relubricating all of the parts. And then this is the finished product. I'm going to be going over all the notable features of this rifle and essentially just showcasing the build. So here we go. The first component we're going to go over is the receiver group. Uh, so yeah, this is the receiver. I bought this, like I said, stripped, so there was no parts in it whatsoever. It was just the receiver. The individual I bought it from bought it originally as a CMP rifle, and then from there he parted it out, and I got the receiver. That being said, it does have some uh, pitting here and there, but it's all very minor pitting, and I really don't think it takes away from the rifle at all because it's so minor. It doesn't really bother me at all. I had people that were telling me that I'm wasting my time restoring a rifle with a pitted receiver. Uh, so I'm pretty much just, you know, let that go, and I didn't let it bother me because I knew what I wanted to do. So, and then I built my rifle, and I'm very proud I did it. But regardless, the sights on this are the Type 2 lock bar sights, which feature the rounded lock bar. At this time, the time this rifle was manufactured, that was a transitional period in between the Type 1 lock bar and the Type 2 lock bar sights. The Type 1 lock bar sight was pretty much exactly the same. However, it had the short pinion. These are the Type 2 sights, which feature the long pinion. But like I said, that was a transitional period, so either or would be correct for the serial number. I personally went with the Type 2s because those are more readily available and they're cheaper, and plus I had a set already. Next is the clip latch. Let me flip the rifle around. This is the clip latch. I have the rounded variant, which is correct for the serial number, of course. Later ones, during World War II also, the later ones had a squared end, but this one, as you can see, has a rounded end. The bolt on this rifle is also correct for the serial number. It is a -12 SA drawing number bolt, and it has a heat lot of S-04 diamond, which is correct for it. There was a couple different heat lots that were being produced at this time, but that's just one of them. So, being that this was from the CMP, it was refinished, which I'm glad. And I have it greased properly, like it's supposed to be. The barrel on this rifle is dated November 1942. Let me see if you can see it. There you can see. Oh. There you can see it. 1142. I was very fortunate to be able to find a barrel that was correctly dated for the serial number of this rifle, being that they're becoming harder to find and are increasingly getting more desirable. I found this one on the CMP forum, which is where I found a lot of the parts for this build. And it's in very nice shape actually on the exterior. As you can see, it still retains quite a bit of its original finish. The rifling it's fair. It's not perfect, however, it's no stovepipe. It's just a used barrel, and however, it's going to do exactly what I need it to do. Pretty much firing blanks off. I'm going to use it for it's going to be my reenacting rifle for the most part. However, I'm also going to use it to do some live firing, to sling some lead, which it will do just that. Next, we're going to be looking at the stock of this rifle. As you can see, it looks just like your standard run-of-the-mill GI walnut stock. Which essentially that's what it is. All the components for this stock I bought separately from each other. I bought the buttstock portion. I bought that separately, and I bought the rear handguard separately and the front handguard separately. Miraculously, I was able to find them all matching, with a matching finish, that is. So I was very glad for that. And I bought all of the metal components separately as well. However, so like I said, this rifle, or this stock, I should say, it is essentially, for the most part, your standard run-of-the-mill GI walnut stock. It does have some markings here. This is the special part. You might be able to see there. Let me get in here. So what you see here, right to the left of my finger, you see what looks like an M. And right to the left of that is what looks like an E. And right above here, to the left of my finger, is the bottom of an S. So that means, that being said, this is the cartouche mark for EMCF, the SAEMCF cartouche mark, which that is the mark for Earl McFarland, who was the commanding officer at Springfield Armory during the time that this rifle was being made. That's how that worked. It was usually the commanding officer at that time. Their initials would be stamped on the stock. Essentially, just like I said, it's an inspection mark. But I was very lucky, very fortunate to be able to find an EMCF stock, as they are becoming increasingly more desirable in the collector market, and they can bring in some money. I was able to find this one in a lot of 3 stocks I bought for $300. So essentially, I bought this for $100. That's just the buttstock portion. I mean, the handguards and stuff I bought separately. This also does have the circled serif P proof mark. I can't really see any cross cannons markings anywhere on it. Just the cartouche and the proof mark. So yeah, that's the stock. Moving up here to the muzzle end of the rifle, we're going to look over my gas cylinder and all of that jazz. The gas cylinder is the correct narrow base gas cylinder, and the gas cylinder screw is the correct single slot variant. The later variants came with the later variant is the crossed more like a Phillips head, essentially. That was to be that was essentially just a little improvement they made to make it more compatible with grenade launchers. But this is the correct one for this serial number. The big special part about this is this. So when these rifles were made, or the early ones, this one also, this serial number, when they were made and they came with the narrow base gas cylinder, they were not made with intentions of them being able to adjust the front sight from side to side. So once they put that bolt in from the factory, they would then press this metal seal in over the head of the bolt. And that was an anti-tamper seal. That was so that guys in the field wouldn't be able to adjust this or take it off or whatever, because it wasn't intended to do that at the time. Now later on down the road, they realized that sometimes rifles did take some movement up here to get them sighted in properly, and then they made a field modification order, that once armorers took this seal out to adjust stuff, they were not to put a new one back in. So it's pretty special to find a gas cylinder that still has this seal on it, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have one on my rifle. Here we're looking at the operating rod. It's essentially just your run-of-the-mill operating rod. The special part about it is that it does not have the post-war relief cut here. You'll see that there's a lot of them have like a little circle taken out of the 90 here. That was, like I said, post-war. So all your wartime rifles would have no relief cut here in the corner of the 90. And it does have the correct drawing number for the serial number. This was refinished at some point because it looks very, very nice, and you can tell it's refinished. Underneath the operating rod, we have the follower rod, which that's essentially what puts spring tension on the follower. However, this is not just your standard follower rod. It's not your standard follower rod. This is the short fork variant of the follower rod. These were found on earlier rifles. Once they started getting into firing rifle grenades off of these rifles, they found that these follower rods would jump off of these pegs. So that was a problem. So once they caught on to that, then they started making them with longer forks so that they wouldn't jump off of the peg so easily. So this rifle would have come from the factory with a short fork follower rod. These follower rods are getting a lot more uncommon, and they can catch a heavy price also, unfortunately, and they're hard to find. So I was very lucky to find mine. I also found it on the CMP forum, like a lot of my other parts. The CMP forum was very helpful during this build, as you can tell. So that's my follower rod, my short fork follower rod. Here is the trigger group. There's nothing really special about this trigger group. It does have all of the correct parts. It has the milled trigger guard. That's what a lot of guys put on rifles when they try to make them correct for World War II. So of course it does have that. There's just a lot of different components with this. However, they are all correct. I did my research on it. I've actually bought this trigger group complete, just as you see it. I bought it off of Garand Parts and More. That was another very helpful site. A lot of their parts are new old stock, or else they refinish them sometimes. So you get some really nice parts from them, and they got good prices. But when I bought this, I disassembled it. Like I said in the beginning, I disassembled this and cleaned it up and put it back together and re-lubricated it before installing it in the rifle. So yeah, it's nothing special, just the trigger group. Here we see my wide array of accessories for the rifle. I currently have on an M1907 leather sling. This is the brass hardware version, which was the earlier version. They switched to parkerized steel sometime in the early 40s, if I'm correct. Uh, but that's generally considered the World War II version. This is more of pre-war, but these did see use throughout the entirety of the war. Um, Here I have a flat buckle M1 sling also. This is more correct for a lot of later impressions, so that's why I have it. Here's my bayonet. This is your standard M1 bayonet. This is a cut down version, which means it was a 16-inch bayonet that was cut down to a 10-inch, like they did. It's made by Oneida Limited in 1943, and it was cut down by American Fork and Hoe. And the scabbard is also a cut down scabbard. I have a ton of cleaning stuff here. These are the items I keep in the buttstock. Here's the oiler with the thong and brush in there. And then here is my M3 combination tool. Does a whole bunch of different stuff. This was actually very helpful during the disassembly and reassembly of my rifle. When I was putting it all together and stuff, I use this a lot. So it does work, for those who are wondering. And here I have some cleaning patches. Cleaning patches are very important. It's something I see a lot of guys missing from impressions, cleaning patches. Uh, what a lot of people don't know is the ammunition that we were using at the time had corrosive primers, is what they called them. They were corrosive. The primers in the ammunition was, which means that it left like a corrosive residue inside the bore of the rifle, which would essentially kind of corrode the rifling and break it down over time. That's just how things were back then. Nowadays, modern ammo is not corrosive, but with surplus ammunition, you have to watch out for that. But getting back on track here, because it was corrosive, they stressed cleaning the rifle and the barrel immensely. That was something that, like I said, they just stressed it very much, and that's because of the corrosive ammunition. So I see a lot of guys missing cleaning patches from their impressions. One of the things that they were told to do, and it was just something that guys were put into the habit of, is if you have free time, run some patches through your barrel. Because rifle maintenance is very important in combat, even in combat, especially in combat. So you didn't want any malfunctions, and you wanted to preserve your rifle as long as you could. So they stress cleaning your rifles a lot. So one thing that I think a lot of people are missing out of impressions is cleaning patches because of that. So yeah, there's cleaning patches. This is stuff that I keep in here. Spare parts bag. Here's just an old rag. Um, this is something that there's not really any proof of guys carrying these. However, it's just one of those things. I personally, if I were actually in combat, I would carry a rag, because you never know if you need it to wipe down your rifle, clean off your rifle, and it's very nice to have when you're doing rifle maintenance. I did use this when I was assembling my rifle and disassembling it. It was very helpful, so that's why I carry that. Here's an original can of lubricating oil, dated 44, and there is oil in there. I bought a couple of these off eBay, as well as some original cans of bore cleaner. Here's a grease pot, original grease pot. Here's a little cleaning brush. This is something that would have been standard issue. And more cleaning patches, of course. The cleaning patches in the buttstock double as sound deafeners for this stuff, because without them, that stuff will be rattling in the butt stock. So it was common practice for guys to plug the extra space with cleaning patches. These 3 items here are actually part of the German cleaning kit. I have read before of some guys capturing German cleaning kits because they were pretty much superior than the American ones. The American thong is what they call it. That's the pull through. That's what you hook your brush or your cleaning patches to pull through the barrel. That was made of cord, and that was prone to breaking, unfortunately. So the Germans, they this is what they carried. As you can see, it's chain, pretty much beaded chain, and so that'll hold up a lot better than the corded pull through thong did. So I carry one of those in my cleaning kit, as well as the brush. This is the German brush, and this is a German cleaning patch. I think they called them mops. You just pull some of these cords out and stick them through the loop on the pull through, and then pull it through, go to town. And I believe these were made to get into the rifling more, getting the rifling better than the traditional American patches. So if I were in a soldier's shoes and I were taking a cleaning kit, I would probably take these two, because it's more cleaning patches. Why wouldn't you take it? So that's my cleaning stuff. Here's my blank adapter. This is a Pops blank adapter. Um, I bought this for a stupid low price on eBay for what it is. They say the Pops blank adapters are the best ones on the market, so that's why I wanted one of these. It was new in the bag, so unopened. So there's my blank adapter. I have yet to use it. I do have plenty of ammunition and end block clips for slinging lead. So I do have my cartridge belt also. That's at a different spot right now. But that's pretty much it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very proud of this rifle, this project. I'm very proud to have the opportunity to have bought all of the parts and all of the tooling I needed and be able to put it together and own such a fantastic piece of history. I cannot wait to get using this thing. I did put some live rounds, some lead through it before. I can't wait to try out the blank adapter. Like I said, this is gonna be my reenacting rifle. So I can be sure, I can rest easy and be sure that my rifle is going to be 100% correct for any impression that I do that's after December 42, pretty much. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next